Runs with Courage, Chapter 18 Gifts. Over the next few days, Catch's Fire brought me the good luck pieces he had saved one at a time. With the cold, it is easy to hide them beneath the shawls. I carried them carefully to my sleeping space and tucked them into the small holes I had made in my pillow in winter quilt. I began to join Catch's Fire at lunch meal break. May I eat with you? I asked the first time I joined him. The entire room had grown silent. Everyone had stopped eating. I looked over to see Walkstall and Moonawake staring at me. He nodded. I sat down next to him. We ate without talking, and I noticed that no one else in the room was talking either. Most of the girls were watching me and Catch's Fire. Miss Beatrice looked up from her desk where she had been eating. My goodness, it has become so quiet. Then she saw me with Catch's Fire. I see there are new friendships being made. Yes, Miss Beatrice, I said, and smiled at Catch's Fire. Slowly, the other girls went back to eating, and the room filled with the sound of talking again. After our lunch day, I stayed next to Catch's Fire during the lessons that followed. Even though it wasn't my assigned place to sit, Miss Beatrice let me stay. While reading, I could see that he was struggling with some of the words in his reading book. This word is capture. Do you see? I leaned over and whispered. He nodded, smiling slightly. I felt happy to know I could help him in a small way after he had helped me so much. The next day, Catch's Fire brought me to Moonawake's small doll, whispering, This is the last, he said, as he slipped it into my hand. I nodded, smiling. I would give the gifts to the girls that night at bedtime. I could barely sit still during our evening meal. Bedtime prayers seemed to drag on forever, but finally Miss Margaret finished. Blessings to you, girls, Miss Margaret said after we had finished our prayers and crawled beneath our thick quilts, trying to get warm in the frigid night air. And to you, we repeated, saying the words we always said when Miss Margaret led our prayers. Someone blew out the lanterns, and the room fell quiet. The white Christmas is in a few days, I said quietly. Go to sleep, Four Winds, someone whispered. It's too cold to talk tonight. Another girl muttered in agreement. But who can sleep when there are gifts to give, I said. What do you mean? Moonawake asked, suddenly interested. I reached inside my quilt and searched for the small doll I knew belonged to her. This, I said, going to give her, placing the doll in her hand, is your Christmas present. She gasped as she realized what it was. How? How did you get this? She asked. I thought it was lost. My favorite aunt made it for me. Suddenly, the other girls were out of their beds, gathering around Moonawake. Yours, I said, bringing a tiny carved flower and handing it to Small Rose. She took it with a delighted gasp. I continued giving back objects to girls who had brought with them from their homes, a felted buffalo, a sewn fabric star, a tiny doll, a piece of beaded hide, all the things that they thought were gone forever. I didn't think I would ever see this again, Walkstall said tearfully as she clutched the small piece of quilt. How did you get these things? Small Rose asked. It was Catch's Fire, I said. William. He was supposed to burn them, but he saved them, and he has kept them safe. Stunned, silence filled the room. The boy William, Moonawake asked in disbelief. The boy William did this? But he's slow, Walkstall said. No, I said. He's brave, and he's smart. Moonawake looked at her doll. And his name is Catch's Fire? She asked. Yes, I answered. He is the keeper of lost things, Walkstall said. And now they are found, I said, nodding. We stood looking at each other in the moonlight, and then someone started to dance. Spontaneously, everyone joined. We stepped quietly, carefully, so that no one below would hear. It was silent, but it was joyful. This dance and our treasures belonged to us.